It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog with my fancy new microphone. How are you doing, everybody? I'm bringing on a guest we've had on previously, DJ Money, and the reason I'm bringing him on is because you guys were ending off 2020 with a bang. We've got 4 more months to go. I want you guys to be positive. I want you to figure out ways to increase your income and increase your cash flow. For those of you who were in the Rise of 20% class yesterday, we talked about income shifting, and it was a good conversation. I think we got a lot of points hit. For those of you who don't know, Mr. DJ Money, please introduce yourself to the audience and how they can get to know you. Give them a little history on yourself.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ericka, for having me back first and foremost. Again, this is the best podcast and the best financial investing show on social media. And I don't say that just because I'm a guest. I say it because my experience and following you for the past 5 months. And then most importantly, my experience of working with the educated people that are actually subscribers to your platform. So without saying anything more, my backstory is a lot like everybody's out there, Ericka. 20 years ago, I had a 525 credit score, graduated from college, end up having over $40,000 worth of consumable debt in addition to my student loan. So collectively, Ericka, I had 525 credit score and about $60-something thousand worth of debt. And I got a rude awakening. I didn't even know that I had that much debt, and I definitely didn't know my credit score was 525. And the irony of it is I went to school to become an accountant. But the reality is that I was given, loans at 17 years of age when I went to college, and people just allowed me to sign up for credit cards and everything else. But when I got out of school and I got my first professional job and I went to the bank to go get myself a mortgage for my first house, I got that rude awakening. They said, your credit score is 525, son. And don't matter how much income you make, we're not giving you a mortgage. So I got turned down for a mortgage. And then I think probably about 36 months later, I got turned down for a business loan as well, even though I had assets. So upon that happening to me, Ericka and everybody out here on the Classy Climb platform, I read a book called The Road to Wealth and read one chapter just about credit. And reading that one chapter and applying these two little dirty words, accountability and discipline, and add the third one, which is mentorship, I rose my credit score to 720 in 12 months. And in 24 months, my credit score went over 800. And that was about 17 years ago. And right now, today, my credit score is 806. And it's been that high for at least 17 years in a row. I'm not even excited about that, Ericka, to be honest with you. What I am excited about is that I became consumer debt free in 2002, paid off everything with my name on it. And in 2008, when the market and the economy was crashing, I became financially independent with a 6-figure income and a 7-figure net worth. That ain't even what I'm excited about. What I'm most excited about is I actually took what I learned and I actually started helping people in the community. I actually started in my church. I started working with my church and teaching a program called Faith, Love, and Money. And then I started working with non-for-profits like the YMCA. And then I started working with the state of Illinois, the state of Michigan on predatory lending and actually on mortgage fraud and things of that nature. And another one of the backstories for me is that my mom was a victim of identity theft in the mid-90s. And also 2 years later, she was a victim of predatory lending. So I got every excuse to be a victim, but I didn't take the victim role. I took the victor role. And in the process of doing that, I created a program called the 7 Spheres of Money and ended up working with over 20,000 people over the past 20 years. And that's what I'm most excited about. And that's my advocacy and my vocation. But what I'm most excited about coming back on your show is that, man, you have some incredible people that we actually were overwhelmed by the response of the people from your show. You actually blew out our server. We actually end up having over 70 plus people within 24 hours access our course. We had over 50 people request consultations. And then in our webinar that we did 2 weeks later, just for your organization, we have 125 people attended the webinar live and in replay. And outside of that, Ericka, the success stories are phenomenal. Can I share a couple of success stories with you?
You sure can. I just want to let everybody know I take pride in being a super connector. I want to bring on people who you guys can connect with and they can serve you well in your personal life, your financial life, and just in period. So definitely share some of those.
Yeah, so it was so many, I had to write them down. That's the funny thing. And I've been on a lot of programs recently, and it's usually a lot of pretenders versus real people want to get really helped. And I'll be the first one to say this. Nobody's program is for everybody.
Yeah.
Not mine, not yours, not anybody. It's the right people that need the right help at the right time. So we had 60 actual plus consultations since August 5th. We had 5 people get refinances. 5 people get refinances that were actually in pretty good situations, but they had been in their mortgages a little bit longer, and they were about to violate the rule I talked about in the course called the 50-25 rule, that we helped them save collectively, these 5 individuals, over $200,000 in interest, in fees, and the average person, Ericka, knocked off 5 years off their existing mortgage by just doing a little simple maneuver from having bought a house in 2010, never refinanced and had a locked in. I had a person had a 4.25% interest rate, which is phenomenal. But they had not done anything with their house. I was able to get them into a 3.25, knock off 7 years, and actually drop their payment by $100. And then from there, we got 5 brand new corporations got started from scratch. Your organization, your community have people from UPS truck drivers to lawyers to government employees to IT consultants, cybersecurity. I talked to some waiters. I talked to some accountants that have been doing accounting for the government, and they were surprised that I knew more about personal finance, business finance than they knew, and I was able to help them out with our team. Melvin, Paul, Lisa, my accountant, my attorney, we were able to refer and help these people out. We actually had 15 people that were overpaying on life insurance policies that we got modified, Ericka, and saved them a total, this is going to blow your mind, over $20,000 in premiums.
Man, I mean, they just didn't know.
Well, you know what the thing is? And I'm not talking about somebody who was making $40,000, $50,000. I'm talking about a couple of people making $150,000 a year. But there's a way to buy insurance that even professional agents don't know how to sell it. That's in the advantage of the buyer. So there's a thing that's called cost per thousand that 9 out of 10 agents don't even know. That's how you're supposed to sell it to people when everything's equal. So everybody that's listening to this, what I mean by that, Ericka, is that if you're 40 years of age, got excellent credit, and got great health, you should be what's called a preferred plus buyer for any type of insurance life policy. But most cases, the people I found out, they're sold the insurance that how much you need, how much you can afford.
Right.
And if they don't know the ask, hey, what's my cost per thousand to make sure I'm paying the least amount? Like when you buy gas or you buy a loaf of bread, they still get screwed even when they think they got a great policy. And reason why I say that is that I'm proud to say I'm 52 years of age. 85% of people we sat down with, I had less cost per thousand on my insurance policy that they had that were half my age. And I mean, I have a $500,000 policy that I have out of multiples that I only pay $30 a month for. I met several people that the same amount were paying $150, $200. And then we went in and did a complimentary evaluation for Ericka. We were able to screen back and get them modified. That's how we were able to save over $20,000 in premiums and also get them into the right policy. We opened up 10 brand new Roth IRAs. And I know a lot of people on your platform are saying, man, you're not telling us anything special. You're right.
You're telling them something special. Every day that's on this channel, some people do not know.
Exactly.
I don't take it for granted that some people just don't know.
Exactly. And you know what the thing is? they're so caught up doing what they do for a living, they don't check their own personal stuff all the time. And there's always a story is that, guess what? You know, the shoe cobbler, when he's making shoes, he's got the worst shoes at his house. So that's what I found out. These professionals that were on your platform were so busy that they didn't get a chance to sit down and really look at their stuff. And I did what's called a financial analytical report for them. It came inside the complimentary consultation with the program that I was offering. And when I screened back that, some people had Roth IRAs that were contributing the minimum to. And then some had Roth IRAs that they rolled over and never continued to contribute. So we got those jump started. Okay. 10 brand new ones off the bat. Okay.
First pause. Everybody, DJ washes his face with Moroccan oil. Everybody kept saying they didn't believe you're 52. So I just had to stop and say, he washes his face with Moroccan oil. He also, too, uses a steamer for his face. It works for us. It works. Okay.
Absolutely.
You know, we got to have a little fun here.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And so guess what? Also outside of that, so in those 10 Roth IRAs, those people are contributing now an average of $250 a month. And that means that they're going to have money at 65 that's never going to be taxed again. Okay. That's huge. Also, we have 4 people that we put into our Forex program with our expert that teaching them how to make $100 a day. Amazing. Okay. Then we have 10 potential first-time real estate investors and 5 about to acquire their first residential investment property through our sphere of our network. And here's the great thing about it is that I made not one penny on any of those transactions. Not one penny on any of those transactions. And then the most important part, we got deductions in there, auto insurance, got more auto coverage for less premium. Your group added 55 new subscribers just to my platform, and I'm not even big on the platform at all in terms of social media. 15 people, we increased their credit scores by 30 points in 30 days.
15 people, you guys, let's say that again. 15 people, we increased their credit reports by 20 points. All right, guys.
By just showing them 2 techniques. And guess what? In the next 30 to 45 days, those same people are going to see their credit score go up by almost 60 points by just doing some techniques that we showed them. And then here's the thing that I'm most excited about is that the new business owners collectively, we pulled together and found them $50,000 that they can invest in their own business, their own real estate, and dividend stocks since August 5th. And that all came from coming on the platform and sharing with them how to do things better with a system and a teaching team to help work with them, because our group collectively have over 125 years of expertise in the 7 spheres of money. That's what we're excited about. And that's why I'm glad that you welcomed us to come back to the show to give you some reports on some of the things we're doing. And we got some powerful testimonials that I'd like to share with you a little bit later on.
For sure. I want to show you this picture. And you guys, if this is helping you, drop a yes in the comments. If you want to support the channel, you can super chat or you can cash app us at SW Investment. Yes, he is 52. He is rubbing Moroccan oil on his face. But I'm going to show y'all this thing I wanted to show you. Right here. Let me see if I can show you. There it is. It ought to show up now. Hold on. You know, there's new microphones in my way, but I'm sacrificing for the audience so they can hear me. They was complaining. All right, let me tell you if you see this right here. Can you see this on your screen? This guy is paying 28% annual 28% rate, and his finance charge is $67,000. Now his amount financed was $44,000. He has 96 payments. He is getting, and his monthly payments are $1,164.
So that wow.
Did everybody see that? Did everybody see it? And again, you know that is for a Hellcat. The joke on all this is it's a Dodge Hellcat, and people are just losing their mind to have a Dodge Hellcat. Did everybody see this? This is 28%. If you can see this, drop 28 in the comments. Because I know y'all, I mean, I just want to show this to you because some people believe drop
67K in the column.
Yeah. I mean, this guy is getting ready to spend 96 payments. How many months is 96 payments? How
Man,
many months
what's
is that?
8 years?
That's 8 years. 8 years.
8 years.
Man.
8 years. And you know what, Ericka? He could have bought 2.5 properties and have $1,800 a month passive income coming through our relationships in Detroit and Ohio, and still pay for that car.
I mean, 8 years, y'all. 8 years, he's committing $1,164 every month.
What? Wait. But hold up, Ericka. You know what his insurance payment gonna be on that whip?
Man, tell him.
About $400 a month. If he's 35 and under, about $400 a month. So that person there is paying $1,600 a month for a car that right after he signed that document. Here's the funny thing. I used to be in the finance business in the car industry. As soon as he signed that document, that car is worth a third 30 days after he got it.
Man.
And I'll tell you a story real quickly since you brought this up. 1992, I'm in the car industry. Kid comes in, 30 years of age, buys a drop top ZR1 Corvette, about 50 grand at the time. Turned right around 60 days later and parked it on our lot because he couldn't make the payments because he lost his job.
Well, someone's like he can accelerate his payments, but here's what I want you to understand. He's paying $23,000. He could buy 2-3 cars.
So Drew some 23. We're not hating on him, but you know what? There's a thing called financial ignorance. And here's what Deion Sanders said back in 1989. Reporter said, Deion, man, you out there riding in that $1 million Lamborghini. Deion said, yeah, how much you make as a reporter? He said, I make $60,000. He said, how much your car costs? He said, it costs $30,000. He said, so you're riding around in a car that's 50% of your gross income, and I'm riding around in a car that's 6% of my gross income. Which one of us is financially ignorant, you or me? That's what you're finding in this guy with the Hellcat. We're not hating on him. He's making a bad business decision because guess what? If he had assets, he, number one, would have a business paying for that note, and he wouldn't be paying 28%, which is usury. That's illegal in 40 of the states in America to charge people 28% interest.
So I thank you. I want to point this out. Lance Brown, thank you for pointing this out. If he pays this over the 96 payments, he will pay $111,076. I mean, basically, he's gonna pay $111,000 for a Hellcat, y'all. I want y'all to understand what we just saw. The car itself is $44,000. Just the finance charge alone is $67,000.
And that finance company should be going to jail.
They should. I mean, this kid is paying.
They should be in jail.
This is a mortgage. This is 100.
Right.
Thank you for the super chat, Lance Brown. I just want everybody to understand that, like, I'm not stuck on the 28%. I'm stuck on the fact this kid's gonna pay $100 grand for a 40K car. Crazy. So I just want that to soak in. I want that to really soak in that this is what, if you don't understand interest, this is how it takes you out.
Absolutely. And guess what? He ain't gonna be doubling up on those payments because you can be rest assured, since his credit is so jacked up, he can barely afford to get that car. And what they did with him in the finance business, they took his credit, ran it through 100 different opportunities, and the first one that approved him at that ridiculous usury rate, they rolled it out on the street and said bye-bye. And they know that 98% chance that car will be back on their lot or repoed within 3 to 6 months. And I'll give you 3 guesses that I can guarantee you why these are facts, and your first 2 guesses don't count. Because guess what? My car got repoed when I was in the car business at less payments because I was behind on my payments as a young professional. And I went to school to become an accountant and knew how money worked. But that's repulsive.
Yeah, I just wanted to show that because I think sometimes people think I'm being extra dramatic and, oh, Ericka's not that bad. And I'm like, it's bad. It's bad out here. There are people paying this. There are people signing these loans that are that terrible. And it doesn't have to be. right? We really want people to, what are some simple ways if they would just kind of snap out of it and realize that every day you're driving to work, you're taking away from your future. You're
Yeah.
taking away from your other opportunities if you at least don't just do a inventory. And for me, I say inventory every quarter. I mean, for me, I inventory my stuff every 30 days, kind of which direction I'm going. But everybody doesn't need to be that intense.
And as our friend Lance Brown showed, $111,000, that's 4 to 5 rental properties, which equate is $4,000 a month, and equate which is $50,000 in passive income, ladies and gentlemen. $50,000 in passive income. And guess what? In that 8 years, the average rate of return that we get on our properties, I don't know about you, Ericka, but I can talk about mine. In Detroit, is 20%. So in 20%, divide that into 72, which is called the rule of 72. Our money doubles in 3.4 years. The value of those houses will double in 10 years. So this young man could have had $50,000 worth of passive income and have himself $200,000 worth of hard equity if somebody showed him the light. And here's the irony of it is, just like Robert Kiyosaki said, he could have taken those passive income payments, Ericka, and buy that car and write it completely off.
Yep.
But this is what the lack of financial literacy does in our society. And it ain't got nothing to do with your money, because in order for them to qualify for that loan, even at that usury rate, you've got to be making at least $60,000, $70,000.
Yeah. Well, that's the sad part.
That's the sad part.
Making money, he just impatient.
Yep. I teach in the course, people buy what they want all the time. Buy what they want all the time. It's a idiom we call new rich. New rich. You make some money. It don't matter if it's $100 or $1 million you made for the first time. You get excited and immediately you go out and you're in this ether, which usually works and lasts, Ericka, for about 72 hours before reality kicks in. You can be rest assured that that person's at home. That new car smell ain't impressive no more. Them honeys or whatever he was getting it for, he is pressed under stress.
What's his name? Shaq, that spent like $1 million in like a day or in an hour. It was like a certain amount of time that was so crazy that his accountant was like, "Do you want to be poor? Do you want to lose everything?" And he never did again. I'd like to thank Sienna for the $5 Cash App. Thank you for supporting the channel. She said, "I just jumped in the live. Love it. Thank you for everything you do." That's right. It's not about what you earn. It's about what you keep. This is very, very important. You guys go ahead and drop some of your financial questions in here while you're at it. Part of what I was thinking of today's conversation is, it's 2020 and some people are losing their home. They're freaking out. They don't know how to utilize their 401k. Are you seeing more people reach out to you guys that are, in the process of going from one job to the next and they want to figure out how to utilize their 401k better?
Wow. You know what, Ericka, that's a great question. You know what we have seen? We actually seen people that are tapping into the 401ks, the Roth IRAs, taking penalties over just paying their regular bills. But then again, here's what happens. The beauty of doing a financial analytical report on a person is that you can find out that you're overpaying for stuff that you got to have that are regular reoccurring expenses. And then you can transfer that money over here and you can save yourself from penetrating that 401k improperly, penetrating that Roth IRA improperly. Then there are people who are going from job to job that do need to take the, emergency, dip into the 401k or the Roth. And those people even too are not getting any advice. They're just being told off the cuff, go, take a hardship. And before I do anything, and we recommend this to everybody, before you make any financial decisions of any value, go sit down with some professionals. Number one. Number two, do never not take advice from somebody that's not down the road successfully to where you're trying to go. And number three, don't play the victim role no matter what your situation is, because those hardships are basically opportunities to get better. And I know that's tough to hear for people, but again, here's another backstop of my story. We went from living in a 1-bedroom, rat infested, roach infested apartment, but 2 years prior to that, from age 0 to 7, we were living in a middle class neighborhood, married, and then my mother got divorced, and all of a sudden our world went upside down. But you know what my mother did? She said, hey, this is just a moment in time. We got a trajectory, and we're going to stick to that game plan. And my mother made no excuses, and we learned from that. And that's a lot of times that people don't do. You know, they don't do that. So now you can take that 401k, and then you can find out what the tax benefits of actually accessing, you know, real estate with self-directed IRAs. You can take that Roth IRA, first-time acquisition. So we're having people call us right now, Ericka, that are asking for that help. And then we're having people call us and say, hey, you know what, should I take a loan over here, a loan over there? And the first thing I do is say, hey, how about you taking a loan from yourself and evaluating and assessing your situation before you panic? Never panic. And this is what I noticed that people do. As soon as they get a little bit of challenge or they lose a job, they immediately go off on the deep end because they're so pampered in their life. They didn't come up like we did, you know, military parents, and was taught how to deal with, you know, hardships to teach where everybody else is participation, you know, players. And I'm not trying to disparage anybody that does have a true hardship. But what I'm saying is, if your life is not going to change, you're not going to die literally right off the bat. Take a deep breath, inhale, contact somebody, and then get yourself evaluated. And then the second thing is, whomever your creditor is, contact that creditor and have a real life conversation with them. Because here's what you and I both know, Ericka, that creditor don't want you not to pay them. And especially in this situation with the pandemic, they're going to work with you. And let me give you some bad experience. One of my properties in Detroit, out of the multiples I own, I have not collected rent since March.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. Go ahead. I'm gonna finish.
You know why? Because the governor put a moratorium on evictions. Now, where in the right mind can somebody owe you $4,200 and without any character or dignity not have a conversation with you and say, let's work out something? Let me give you $100 a month. But I'm not complaining about it, but I'm giving you an example that everybody takes hits.
Listen, I want to, and everybody in the audience here knows, because we've been complaining about for months now. We have a professional tenant in one of our properties. We went to court in October. The courts are backed up in Detroit, so we are 2 months behind. It's almost end of November. Judge is like, you got to get her out. Well, I was at work, so I missed court. So we got back into court again in January. The judge is like, you really got to get out. So she petitions one more time, and they petition in February. And they go, ma'am, the original judgment from October still stands. You got to go. Guess what? We call next week to the sheriff. No way. And so we've been sitting on $8,800 and some change. And what's crazy is the ladies worked the whole time at the hospital.
Exactly.
The whole time.
Exactly. Those are the people that give good people a bad name.
You're like sis, $100, $200 here and there. We would even work with you. But you like not even, nope, not going to make any payments. And so I brought on Asia Denson. I think I told you about her. And basically there's a lot of landlords who are going to get people's tax refund checks.
Yep.
The law allows it. And so it's like, they're laughing now and they're enjoying it now, but it won't be so funny in March. It just won't. And for really a real honest thing I want to talk about is, I think we said it last time, but Debt Cures, Kevin Trudeau wrote a book called Debt Cures. And he was like, if you just offer them $100 or you attempted to pay and communicate, they can't default on you. So all these millions of people were sending in 100 or 100 here and there. And that's what I tell people. I say, listen, communicate. Don't hide from them. Don't let them browbeat you on your phone. Pick up that phone, communicate, because there's nothing they can do. They can only document it in the notes, right? If you got 25 to pay them, send 25 in the mail with a stamp and with a smile and keep on going. So
ain't that the truth? I mean, it could never been better said. Never can be better said. Yeah, that's what we found out. And right now, this is the best time in the industry, because even without COVID, people usually party, have a great time in the summertime, and they really don't pertain or pay attention to their money, Erica, and you know that. And then when the fall hits, reality steps back in.
It's cold. They're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
They outside like the what is it? The grasshopper. Help! Help!
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they've been spending in their lifestyle on credit cards, but they don't have the ability to pay them off every 30 days. So what we end up finding out here at our programs is that that's when people are ringing our phones. I mean, we literally are in the best time of the year for our system and our business, and it's always been that way from the end of September to the third week of April. Our phones ring off the hook, and 9 out of 10 times the people have lack of financial intelligence. And here's the funny part: a lot of these people we talk to are investors that own property, own businesses. Let me tell you another success story that we had. We have a couple of business owners running really successful business, and they've been in business since I think 2007. Again, came off your platform, excellent credit, no debt. But on the corporate side, they're not using that magic rule I talked about before. You remember that one I told you about, Cafe Rule 125?
Bring it out.
So Melvin and I sit down with them and talk to them and show them where they could fully fund their retirement through their corporation as executive of their organization and actually save 15% of their gross revenues and put right back into their retirement plan and get a complete 100% tax write-off. Now, let me preface this, ladies and gentlemen. I am not a tax attorney and I am not a CPA, but I have been doing this for 20 years and I have an accountant background. And what I talk to people about all the time, every year you should get the new tax codes that pertain to your life. And then you should get professionals like CPAs, tax attorneys to sit down and explain to you how the tax laws benefit you, what the ones are changing to actually be a negative towards you, and then apply them successfully so you can have this symphony of success. So with that person, he got so excited, he brought his partner into the dialogue, talked to his partner. Now he's excited. So we're going to get those changes made for him. And he's now going to have money freed up to buy his first couple of real estate investment properties. And that all happened, Erica, in 2 consultations. 1, they bought the course that we offered last time. 2, they took advantage of the limited time of the complimentary consultation. And then the third one is they actually became members of our program. We actually have over those 70 plus people who came thrashing through and bought the course and took advantage of the complimentary consultations. Over a third of them have become members of our program. And we're working side by side with them right now as we speak. I actually had to shut down the complimentary consultations because I was getting so overwhelmed by so many people calling. So I shut it down for about 3 weeks so I can give each one of those people with Melvin, Paul, and Lisa and myself our undivided attention. And now we're able to open back up and start helping more of your people. That's what we're excited. And again, this was people who are already successful, business doing heavy 6 figures, debt-free, 820 credit score, knocking it out the park. But their accountant, their attorney, who they've been using for a while, never told them about how to fund these things as simple as a self-retirement plan, a KEO, and apply the 125 CAFE rules to it. Can you believe that, Erica?
Listen, I believe it because people just don't know. If they don't remind somebody, sometimes they may not get the answer they need.
So I mean, think about the irony of this. They invested a measly $100 with us, and we're gonna save them about $100,000 a year in their business, and that $100,000 is gonna go through 2 partners' retirement plan and actually set them up pretty at 65 because we're gonna get them deferred compensation, a Sept plan, and put dividend IULs inside of that vehicle. And all that is just writing down on paper with your accountant or your advisor, walking through the steps and showing you the advantages. And that was accomplished in 2 sit-down sessions that ranged about an hour.
Listen, it's not what I tell people is there's so much information out there if you're just not exposed to it or how to do it in the right way. So when it opens up, man.
I don't mean to laugh, but I'm so excited about the people and
saving people money. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing. And guess again, we work with people as young on your platform as 21 years of age and as old as 62. Actually met a person 62 on your platform that still had $90,000 worth of student loans. I couldn't believe it. They had 2 master degrees,
Man.
and we're trying to figure out how to pay off these student loans, Ericka.
Whew. Listen, let me tell you.
That's retirement age.
Yeah.
But you know what? Kudos to that person. They were humble enough to say, let me pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Let me get the course. Let me get the consultation because I don't want to be in this situation no more. So the image managing went to the side. And man.
This is what I tell people. You may live to be 100. They have some great medicine out here. They got some great vegetarian food out here. They got great food out here, right? So you may live to be 100. How do you want that 100 to look? You may live to be 80. Even if they're 62, they may live another 20 plus years. How do they want the next 20 to go? That's how I look at it.
Ericka, $1.3 trillion in student loans in America. 1.3 trillion. And the economists are saying that they are predicting that possibly we're going to have a worse situation than 2008, 2010, possibly. And I'm not one that look at the negative side. I'm always looking at the positive because at the same time, conversely, there's people coming out of this thing more wealthier than they ever been because they're creating transformational skills. Here's another great success story we got. Young UPS driver just contacted us a week ago, making his first acquisition of his first property. And I want to give a shout out to James. What a great guy. Helping his mom out. Buying a property, and he looked at it, and the property was X amount of thousand. He made X amount of dollars. And then I looked at it and I said, hey, James, I'll be honest with you. If I were in a situation outside of helping my mom, this might not be the move for my first property. But if the only thing you can do to create an asset, then I will move forward. But let me show you some options and some skill sets that you should get. And I turned him on to our digital marketing expert, Sept, to teach him some digital marketing skills that could actually give him transformational skills and take him from 0 in 90 days, Ericka, and potentially make $30 to $40 an hour. And I know that's huge on your platforms when you bring the digital people and the technology people in. And we're excited about working and helping James out. And then we had another person, very successful, TK Kinsley. I sent you the testimonial, knocking everything out of the park, and just had a couple of things that just need to be tuned up. And we looked at how we can tune her up and get her from 55 to 65, and she could walk away with everything debt-free, passive income, and start a business consulting business right now with the certificates that she just recently got. Yeah. And she was in the top 90 percentile of most people that we meet. But she still had room for growth. And I think what a lot of times the people that come on our platform and they want to get rich quick, or they want that secret, that I can do and I can make it happen without putting all the legwork in, or they want some glamorous stuff. And sometimes people would tell us, hey man, your stuff is so simple, I'm not impressed with it. I said, you know what? You don't need to be. Guess what? I'm debt free. I'm stress free. And we keep having people calling us asking for help that look more like you, that have all these trinkets and these trappings of appearance and success, but they are not really financially independent.
Yeah. And they're going to bed stressed that night.
Exactly.
Upset stomach, ulcers, tummy upset.
Exactly. So do you want to live that way, or do you want to live like the millionaire next door?
Do you want to have your face moisturized like me and DJ?
There you go.
Get on board. Get on board, y'all. Okay, you want to have the stress-free face? No. There's a ton of comments in here. I see you guys commenting. I appreciate all of you guys' conversation, and I'll tackle some of them. Raphael Williams says, I'm going to need 350. Thank you, Raphael Williams, for the 350 super chat. We appreciate every dollar, every dime. He said, what is the cafe rule 125? I'm going to have to do my research.
All right, Martin. All right, so I'm going to give y'all this one time, but after that, you got to get the course. All right. Yeah. So the cafe rule 125 is an IRS code, just like the 401k is. Okay. So here's what the cafe rule 125 says, Martin. First, I'm going to ask you this. Have you ever had a corporate job and they had a reimbursement college plan where you would go to school, and if you get an A or B, they'll give you 80% back of your tuition. If you got an A, they gave you 100% back of your tuition. If that's happened, anybody that hears me, Put a one in chat box and say you know the program I'm talking about. Now, the Cafe Rule 125 plan says if you go to school and you're a corporation and you just pass the class, you get 100% of your money back. I'm gonna say that again. If you go to school and get an extra degree, certification from your corporation as an employee or an executive, you don't have to get an A or B to get a full reimbursement. All you have to do is pass the class, A or pass. You get 100% back. So what the Cafe Rule 125 does, Martin, is that it gives you a category of over 100 different write-offs that you are entitled to as a business owner with a corporation. And 98% of the time, as small business owners and investors, we don't know because your accountant doesn't know. So inside our course, we talk about that. And then most importantly, the complimentary consultation that we give people that I normally charge $400 an hour for my time, we break down all that stuff for you. But you have to do two little dirty things. You have to send us a budget sheet and fill out a survey. Let me show you something, Ericka.
Bring it on.
Let me show you something. This is a stack of all the people that we've worked with since August 5th out of your organization. And we did some basic stuff, which I thought, here's the thing I am shocked about. This is the thing that I was disappointed. I was only disappointed with one thing, but everybody I talked to on your platform. 90% of every person that I talked to had never had a risk tolerance questionnaire done. That's a requirement if you invest with somebody who has a securities license. That's a requirement if you have a 401k, a 203, a 403b, by the group custodian to have that done. And what that does for everybody, I'm going to show you, it identifies. Can you see that, Ericka?
Yeah.
It tells you what type of investor you are. And everything that you invest, from mutual funds to stocks to bonds to dividends to A shares, B shares, and C shares, it has to line up with that profile, or you cannot place that investment with a security advisor because the Security Exchange Commission will find you or put you in jail. I.e., what's that kid's name out of Atlanta? T.I., who is out here selling Bitcoins and violating the Securities Exchange Commission laws because he's popular and got 1 million followers, so he thinks he can sell securities. So there's another security that people didn't know about called viaticals. You ever heard of that, Ericka? Viaticals?
I haven't.
Viaticals came about back in the mid 80s when AIDS jumped off the scene. That got really potent from 87 to 90. So what a viatical insurance is that people who had AIDS and the HIV immune predicament like Magic Johnson, those people were dying in record time. They had regular life insurance policies. So what a viatical insurance policy would do, if you had a 60-month term and you would determine that you're going to die based on this AIDS predicament because they didn't have AZT and that stuff when it first jumped off, these people were dying in 24, 36 months. Okay? A viatical insurance would buy your existing policy, pay the premium, and give you a percentage right now to live off of.
Right.
So you couldn't do that with whole life. You couldn't do it with term. You couldn't do it with variable insurance. So viaticals came in, started buying up all those policies, and then the insurance company said, "Oh, whoa, hold up! You're about to take 70% of our profits. That's a security." They fought them over billions of dollars, Ericka, and found out that viaticals are not a security product based on the Hauser Act. Why am I saying that? Because people don't know what they don't know when they're selling people things that are securities that are not securities, or they're selling people stuff that are securities that they got to have license to sell it. So that ended up turning into what's called life settlements. And life settlements replace that and start buying out these policies, because here's what happens with the regular person who has a policy that's not even ill. 70% of people, when they get over 70%, 70 years of age, their policies lapse just because they forget or they have some small illness and they can't afford to pay the premium anymore. And then insurance companies, Ericka, make billions. I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars off of this. So they bought that and created a security.
The Howie Act is what somebody.
The Howie Act. Yeah, I mispronounced you. That's part of the 52 that's coming in. Correct.
Yeah. Well, you know, here's the thing. I just saw you talk to George Frazier. I saw some of the video. I was like, oh, watch out now, bringing in the hitters.
That's my mentor.
Listen, he cracks me up. I mean, I remember he went on. I watched one video of him and he came in the room and he was like, it's a black event. And he had to speak at it. He's like, just in case some of you are wondering, I am black. And then he starts to talk. He just cracks me up.
That's
okay,
right.
so sorry.
So let me tell you why I know about that, because I was in the industry. I had just got into the industry.
Right.
So in 2000 and 2002, I was the #1 seller of life settlements in my company when I first started in the industry. I sold over $20 million worth of life settlements. And these life settlements would give you 12 to 72% return on your money. And we were putting those inside of people's 401ks, and people were loving us. So this is part of my extenuating experience and my expertise over 20 years. And the reason why I state that is that a lot of times out here now, you got kids at 13 years of age teaching people how to do swing trades, and I'm making $78,000, $8,000, and I'm selling these courses, which really should have license to do. Then you got guys out here doing these Oklahoma, programs and raising $10 million and skating by the skin of their teeth, stealing millions and millions of dollars from people by $100 at a time.
Right.
So you have to be aware of those situations, and you have to ask the proper questions. So
proper questions, risk tolerance, regulation D.
Exactly. What is a 72T? What's a 1031 exchange? And that was the other thing. A lot of these people outside of that risk tolerance questionnaire hadn't had a financial education plan done for them. 60% of them, none. 20% of them hadn't had one done in over 2 years. And only 5% of them had recently had one done in the past 12 months. And after we line those basic things up, that's kindergarten.
Yeah.
This is how we're able to impact those people and make these major impacts in their lives by doing these basics. That's the amazing part. So we ain't even get to the sophisticated stuff that you and I do.
Yeah.
But they got that income that could afford to put them in the sophisticated, position of an investor, but they have the education. So when I talk to people and they say, oh man, this stuff is basic, but at the same time, check this out, Ericka, we have the #1 New York Life underwriter on our team named Rick. Been in the business almost 40 years. He manages over $20 billion worth of premiums, and he writes over $2 billion of premiums every year on our team, Ericka. And I was able to refer some people to talk to him free for 15 minutes. You know what that 15 minutes would have cost them if they had to pay? It would have been about $1,000. And that was just for picking up the course and getting a complimentary consultation.
All right, you guys, pick up the course, complimentary consultation. It's out there. It's going to be booked up and busy. Now, there's been some questions and some super chats. I haven't ignored you guys. We've just been flowing. Thank you, PSI6 for the $5 super chat. Other Z, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, I'd like to know DJ's money opinion on velocity banking. I mean, you can give an overview or lightly, however you want to address it. There's some other questions in here too, so go ahead.
That's a great question. Here's the first thing I'm going to tell you. And I always tell people, nobody's an expert in everything. I myself, I know what velocity means, and I know what velocity banking is, but I have never done it. And here's the reason why, because it related to playing with credit. And it kind of reminds me back in the early 90s where people found out before they changed the laws how you could take one credit card, pay off the balance, and keep rolling the payments, and then you get caught. But I've seen people that are doing very well with velocity banking, and just like Bitcoin, I don't invest in that stuff. I only invest in stuff that I know is tried and true. Now, as far as velocity of money itself, I make sure my money is constantly rotating and making a 7 to 12% compounded return every month. But if you study and you find somebody in velocity banking that actually has the fruit on the tree, and this is what I mean by fruit on the tree, Ericka. I don't mean somebody who just started doing it and 12 months ago they weren't doing anything. All of a sudden they making $60,000 a month.
Yeah.
Find me somebody who's been doing it, came through a catastrophic event, and came out and still doing it at a higher clip.
Yeah.
I rarely find that. So if you find that person that's doing it, that has gone through this pandemic, gone through the credit swap of 2008, 2010, gone through 9/11 and done it, and they're still moving at a good pace and making money, then you should roll with them. But if they just got success over the past 6, 12, 18 months, they're not really successful. They are finding some,
Traction.
improvements and some tractions and trends, but they ain't had that hiccup and that wake up moment because you had it.
Yeah.
I've had it. And let me share this with you guys, ladies and gentlemen. And there was another thing that about 10 people said when they met with us. They said they thought it was a breath of fresh air of our transparency. I'm going to teach you mostly about the stuff I've done wrong. I've lost over $500,000. At the time, I wasn't proud to say that about 12 years ago. But today, I'm proud because I've learned the mistakes that actually made my life better. And I was able to help over 1,000 people since do that. Collectively, that we're in the same situation because I weathered the storm. And you know what? Like everybody, every dog has a day. But you know what? I fell in the same situation that guy with that Hellcat. I found myself wanting more stuff than I needed, Ericka. And I stopped doing my due diligence on one of the investments that I had my nose, turned up where I wanted to get a big hit and end up losing the money. So 9 out of 10 times, no advisor is going to tell you that. No coach is going to tell you that because they'll be afraid that runs away. But I'm going to tell you that because I'm going to keep it real.
Listen, I'm big on. I just did a show the other day. You hitting on it, DJ, where I talked about I'm not a big fan of people out here doing consulting that don't have a current business, can't show you a business, can't show you what they do other than just consulting to make money. Over the years, I've had many businesses, and I'm telling you, I'm buying a business in the middle of a pandemic. And I'm gonna buy another business in the spring. Hey, if I can get that other $1 back, it'll be great. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity coming. And show me someone who's buying businesses in the middle of a pandemic, who's running companies, and I'll listen to that person. But
can I share, give you some flowers? I want to give you some flowers right now.
Sure, go ahead.
Hey guys, I'm so impressed. I mean, I actually have come out and I've actually met Ericka face to face. Me and 2 of my team partners have met Ericka, and she is more of the real deal in person, ladies and gentlemen, than she is on this platform. And for the simple fact of what you just said, you have real business that you're running, multiple businesses successfully, and the ability and the transparency is amazing. And that says volumes because, again, if you turn off the switch and they can't get on this platform digitally, where do they go to create their income? There
you go.
Nowhere.
And I'm gonna hit y'all on the email list if I get kicked off. You already know what time it is.
Exactly. Hit me up with some more questions because I mean I want to get some shouts out to some of the people. I wanted to give a shout out to Daphne, who's a financial consultant that came through our program that loved it. Want to give a shout out to John and Cliff who came through our program. Give a shout out to my man Sarkis who came through our program. Oh man, we got so many people. I don't want to miss anybody, but these are some of the people that have come through that had success. We give a shout out to Leah. I mean, we have a lot of people came through your program with us, and they are phenomenal people, and we're helping them. So, what's the next question?
So, this person says, LH says, if you have too much credit, debt to income ratio is high, not bad credit, everything is paid on time. Would you file bankruptcy and start over, or pay off the debt?
Well,
now I have very strong opinions on bankruptcy, but I'll let you talk.
I'm gonna tell you hell to the no on the bankruptcy. I'm gonna say it again. Is this an adult show right now? Is it too late?
Yeah, you can do it. You can go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you hell to the no. And I'm gonna tell you if you created that debt, then own that debt and pay it off. And here's why, LH, because people who get into debt that knew what they were doing. Think about the people who borrowed that money to you, and if they can't make their payments, and if you're able to just to wipe them out and put the foot on the shoe on the other foot, what if that happens to you? Just like Eric and I just said, I got a tenant right now, owe me over $4,200. You got $800, and these people are working.
Yeah.
And now on the bad side, depending on what your age is, LH, if you do that, bankruptcy laws are much tougher today than they were 10 years ago. It used to be you could file a bankruptcy, get a discharge in 6 months. Now you're going to literally take the brunt of that 7 years and you're going to mess yourself up. So if you put yourself in a situation, you know exactly what that debt was for and you benefited from it, pay it off. Because my 40,000, I paid off every dime. Mm-hmm. My 20 grand in student loan paid off every dime. And let me tell you another dirty secret. I actually got garnished on my student loan.
Dang. They weren't playing with you.
So again, I got a repo, I got a garnish, but I still came out on top. And you know why? Because I did them 3 little rules: accountability, discipline, got myself a mentor, found a system, plugged in, put my head down. Within 5 years, I was better off from the experience. And I learned a lesson that I was able to teach other people not to do. Now, if you're in business, LH, and this is business debt, then I say use the bankruptcy laws accordingly based on the advice from your attorney and your accountant and your corporation. That is the one exception to the rule that I will say when bankruptcy is applicable and honest.
Someone asked how to get the course, and some people have already purchased. I see your comments. Here is the link again for the course. Here is the link for the course. You guys, again, it's $99. I don't know what you're seeing on your end. Let me know. I clicked it and checked it. Again,
can we tell them what they get for the course? Because some people
tell them what they get for the course.
Yeah. So let me tell you, because I created this special especially for your organization. Mm-hmm. And let me show you what you get. Number one, you get the digital course is 3 hours. Okay, it's 3 hours of 136 principles of financial success. Okay, it took me 5 years to put this program together. It actually breaks down like the encyclopedia how to do this, you know, and here's what it does for you. It gives you the module that you need, when you need it, how you need it. So if you have a refi situation, then just go to the refi module and get that done. If you have a credit situation, just go to the credit situation, get that done. But the most important part that I find most successful for everybody in this experience, Ericka, is that consultation with our team.
Yeah.
That consultation, I'm not giving anybody a consultation for free when I can get $400 6 days out of every 7.
Yeah.
But because how we put the program together for your platform, we found the value to have those people benefit from that if they are willing to just fill out the budget sheet and the survey. We don't do any consultations without the budget sheet and the survey. And here's why. You can ask me all the questions you want, but if I can't look at you like a doctor and look at all the transparency, I'll get bad information, and I'm not going to do that. So they get the digital course, which is 3 hours, 18 modules. They get the financial digital book. They get a digital book called The Cost of Financial Ignorance. And they get a $400 consultation with me, absolutely complimentary, free, for 15 hard minutes with the budget sheet and the survey. So overall, you're getting over $1,000 worth of real service for a $99 investment. And we have had nobody except one person that asked for a refund, and we had no problem taking care of them because they had an extenuating circumstances.
For sure.
Over 70 plus people, one person asked for their money back.
Listen, you know, I always want to bring people on that bring value to you guys, because a lot of you guys do make good money on this show. Y'all make money. And so we just want to help you get it into the right position, the right vehicle, the right whatever you need to kind of tune yourself up. And so I may not always have the answers for you. That's why I bring on great guests to communicate with y'all. Different things, different strokes, different folks. Again, some people are saying thank you for the wealth of knowledge. LH is purchasing the course now. LH, I hope we were to convince you not to do the bankruptcy.
And LH, I hope I didn't make you mad, because that's
no, they're purchasing the course.
Congratulations! Thank you very much. And here's the most important thing too, Ericka. Since we were so overwhelmed the first time, if you want the complimentary consultation, you have to get on my calendar immediately.
Yep.
Now, here's what I'll share with you. I have over 7 consultants on our team throughout 7 to 10 states. But if you want to work directly with me personally, I'm only going to work with the first 15 people. Not because I don't want to, Ericka, it's because my time is at a limit right now because we're in the crux of our industry. And I'm getting calls. We're working on some stuff together. I'm getting calls from the airline industry. I'm getting calls from the non-for-profit industry because this is open enrollment. Can you tell them about how open enrollment works?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I'll let you do it. I'll let you do it.
So here how it works, ladies and gentlemen. For somebody who's in my industry on the professional side, actually gets paid for a living and makes the crust of their money, open enrollment happens twice a year in October through December. And most financial advisors who work business to business and insurance agents, they make 60 to 70% of their income in those 3 months, just like accountants.
Listen, I want to tell you real quick before you finish your thought. I had 2 insurance agents call me today. I said, hey, call me back in 5 minutes. I called them both back 3 times. They were on the phone nonstop. They're like, I'm going to get you in. I'm going to call you back. I'm going to get you in. I'm like, oh, my goodness. So if you got to understand what open enrollment time is.
So sometimes people think I'm using that as a sales pitch. All you got to do is look it up. Businesses, hospitals, schools, airline industries, all the open enrollments is literally starting the 1st of October, ending November 30th. And we have to be on our P's and Q's. And the people on my team, from the people from New York Life, Transamerica, Bank of America, not Wells Fargo. We don't do business with Wells Fargo. So let me crush that. From Merrill Lynch, we have people who manage over $2 billion worth of assets with Merrill Lynch. They are literally have been preparing their whole year on this 3-month window. And for me, I do the continuing financial education for the employees. So I started to get on planes and hop across the country. Even with COVID, I'm doing it in a limited capacity. So the last month, I've been on a plane 3 times already, Ericka.
Yeah.
3 times. You can attest to that. I jumped right off the plane, came, saw you.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is
with Lysol and everything. No, I'm just
So what I'm saying to you is that if you specifically are a professional who wants to own real estate or own real estate, you have a business and you want to work with me because my expertise is really business like yours, Ericka, and actually teaching people how to put the tenements of the proper relationships together and executing. So if you want to work with me personally, you got to get on my calendar right now because after September 30th, I'm going to lock down my personal calendar, but everybody else on my team is a super stud. And let me share some light on some people on my team, if I may, Ericka.
Do it.
I'm not the magic in the 7 spheres of money or DJ the Money Coach company. Melvin is my #1 ace in the hole. Melvin Hopkins. You've talked to him. You've met him over the video conference. Melvin's been with me for 17 years. He's got a Series 65, a Series 6. He's a HR, which is the highest certification you can have in the HR industry. He actually has run HR departments for Fortune 1000 companies. He manages several millions of dollars of personal assets and corporate assets. And one of the things, if you're a small business owner, you want to know the proper structure and the proper ways to execute the 125 cafe rule. Melvin can get that done for you. Melvin manages my personal finances. Here's the thing that I don't do. I never recommend anybody that I haven't worked with first. And it's very rare that people outside of you and me, Ericka, that actually do that. That's just facts. Number 2, Lisa Shebar, #1 trademark litigation attorney on the planet. And you may think I'm saying that because I'm biased, but she represents McDonald's, the hamburger guys. She represents BMI, the music people. And she represents a boatload of small business owners like myself who have the same type of income and the same type of net worth. Been with her since 2006. Paul Bax, who's retired, and he's going to get mad at me, but I'm going to put his name out there because Paul's been working with me for 15 years. Chairman and president of the Chamber of Commerce for the city of Chicagoland suburbs, which includes over 5,000 businesses area. Does taxes for 30 years for real estate investors, small business owners. Been doing my taxes for 20 years. 4th person on the team, Brandon Hutchison, 31 years of age, manages $1.2 billion worth of assets under management, actually taught him a little bit about the business when his best friend was the first round draft pick for the Houston Rockets. He now does financing at hundreds of millions of dollars. But he'll sit down, and you met him. Isn't that true?
Yep.
Is he
drilled me? He beat my legs up. And then
but ain't the funny thing? We were able to come to an accord and create a win-win for both of us just by having Brandon, because he's got experience at the next level. Would you agree?
For sure.
Part of our team. These are some of the people that we work with that can help you leverage the playing field and actually give you a real shortcut to success without cheating the shortcut, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to share some of the light and some of that on some of these people that have been with me for a long period of time. And again, I want to go back to that person that talked about velocity of banking and say, if you're looking at a system, make sure they have people like Robert Kiyosaki has that have been with them 15, 20, 30 years. Because that's when the real fruit is on the tree, if that makes sense. And I want to give a shout out. I see we got about 10, 12 different acquisitions that are purchases that happened on this. Ladae Hubbard, want to give a shout out to. Barbara Brown, I want to give a shout out to. Samantha Williams, I want to give a shout out to. Man, they just blowing up. Your platform is so amazing. It's just a breath of fresh air to have the opportunity to share these wisdom and nuggets with people. And we're also, for the special group, Ericka, we're also throwing in a webinar as well. A webinar that we normally charge $199 for. We're throwing in a webinar next Wednesday, the 23rd. Every person that gets the course tonight gets a free bonus acquisition into that webinar, no additional charge. And you can watch it in 24 hours. You'll get a free ticket into the webinar.
People said they got it. They ready. Someone said purchase earlier, ready to work with you. Somebody said they own that. They want to network with you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing, too. Can I talk about access to networks?
For sure. Do it.
This is something that you're great about, is that here's the reason why you want to get with the right organization, because you may not be able to work with somebody like a Rick Paulson. You may not get access to a Melvin Hobson, but since he or she is in Ericka's pocket and have the relationship, you can endorse you to them, and they'll cut out their time slot to work with somebody that is not qualified but has the potential to be a great client for them. We don't have a lot of that in our personal community. So right now I'm kind of talking strategically to our community, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So we can't make that excuse that, hey, man, I'm never getting the opportunity because I don't have accessibility. So one of the things that I decided to do in our 7 spheres of money, Ericka, is actually give accessibility to people. And I'll show you how that works with Leonard. On the Forex side, Leonard doesn't mess around with anybody unless they got 20K, close to 6 figures, because he doesn't have time to put them through the basics. But you know what I was able to do with those 4 people? I was able to screen them, get them educated, get them some fundamentals behind them because they had the cash. But they didn't have the education. But guess what, Ericka? In 3 weeks, I was able to get them cleaned up enough that they could start working with Leonard. But they already had the money, but they didn't have the risk in order to understand what Leonard could do for them, because that money that they have, and you and I well know, has to be money they can afford to lose.
And then and see, here's the thing. When we talk about investing, first of all, working with DJ Money is going to help you be a better steward of the money you already receive, right? And so once you start becoming a better steward of your money you already receive, that's when income starts freeing up, after you get the discipline and you start getting the stewardship corrected. Then after you start freeing cash up, then you can focus on investing or paying off debt, because some of you have different goals. So I love when I bring on people who can kind of cut through some of the conversation on what you need, because I may not have the exact steps you may need and someone else may have it. And that's why I always want to connect with people who are helpful, because I'm on the side of like, make more money. I do want you to mind the gap, but I'm not going to be as on top of mind in the gap as you are. Because for me, sometimes people be like, oh man, I spent $100 too much. I'm like, make another $100.
Exactly.
So mind the gap. And so that's why I bring on people who are like, mind the gap. I had one person ask one question that caught my attention, and they just asked, how much do they need to set aside to buy a rental property? Which is always a flexible question because it depends on the market, right?
So, man, that's a great question. So I think both of us should give the answer to that. So here's what I'm saying, and you and I are probably biased. So if I'm investing, and I just had this conversation with my friend James out in Massachusetts that came through your platform. I said, James, he was pulling aside $30,000, $27,000 to $30,000 cash. And he was telling me he was going to get about a 6-7% rate of return on his money. But he was going to take on about a couple of $100,000 of debt. But you and I both know rate of return is pure cash out of pocket, pure cash back in the pocket. It's not about the debt. It's just the cash on cash return, right? So I said, look, James, you're going to make about $4,500, maybe $3,500, and maybe net about 150, which is $2,000 after everything. I said, that's a great return for somebody who's already in the market. But for the first person, without any risk or minimal risk, if I had $30,000 right now, I'm going to jump off and invest in Detroit. I'm going to jump off and invest in Cleveland. I'm going to jump off and invest in Cincinnati. And I ain't investing nowhere else. And here's why. Let's just do the regular rate of return. Let's pull up our calculator. Everybody listening to me right now. I'm going to just pull up my calculator. I want you'll pull out yours, Ericka, and just show them. So if we took the $27,000 and made it $30,000, because that's the low part you can get into Detroit right now is $30,000. It's going up. It's really 40 with the good properties. But let's just use 30 as the barometer, okay? Because that's a great question. So if you took $30,000 and I got you $700 a month in rent, because we're doing that all day. Outside of that one investment that's not paying and that one you got paying, all the rest of mine are paying. Have never missed
us too. Yeah.
And I want to let them know. So I ain't trying to scare them, but out of the other ones since 2015, we bought a house every year, and we bought one right the last time I was on your show.
Yep.
For that mere 11,000, we put another 19 in at 30. Check this out. We now got a tenant in that property. That property is actually paying us $700 a month. We own that property outright. Okay. So 700 times 12 is $8,400. Now we spent $30,000. Now to find out what your cash on cash return is, you divide $8,400, which is the amount of rent you collected, by 30,000. And guess what, Ericka? 28% rate of return. Now let's take the rule of 72. This is when I get excited. Divide that interest into 72, and guess how quickly your money will double for you. Let's put that number together. Everybody do this with me. 72 divided by 28, 2.5 years. So this is what this means. What was the name of the person that asked that question? Because I want to address him or her personally.
It was Anish Berry. Hold on, let me see.
Okay, Anish. Okay, so look at it this way, Anish. Even if you had to borrow $30,000, you would get every penny back in 2.5 years. And in 2.5 more years, your money would double, and you would make $30,000 on top of that. And here's what I want to share with you, Aisha.
Yeah,
I'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count, that I can guarantee that you can accomplish that. Would you like to know how I can guarantee that?
We all want to know. We all want to know.
Because I done it over 50 times.
There you go. Ding, 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 y'all.
And let me share this with you, ladies and gentlemen. I did not own any real estate investment property outside 2 small properties before the market. I mean, after the market crashed. So from 2008, 2010, I sold all my real estate properties except for 2. I sold all the ones in Detroit. So I'm just talking about Detroit right now.
Yeah.
2015, I got back in the market because my mentor told me, start buying properties again back in Detroit. I've been buying properties in Detroit ever since 2015. Right now, I have over $4,200 worth of passive income coming in from the Detroit properties. That's $50,000 a year. Those properties are worth collectively over $250,000. We own them cash outright. And here's another great thing that I'm gonna share with your people. If you come through the program and you decide to work with us, really work with us. Because what we show you is a snapshot, Ericka. I had like 25 people say, well, hey, I want your full program. Show me your full program. I say, oh, hold up. Let's crawl, walk, run. Let's go through the course, take the complimentary consultation, run over your budget, look at your survey, and then see if we can really help you out. And if we can help you out from there, then let's show you what the real program looks like. And so what the real program looks like is that we were able to take a couple of those people and start getting them positioned where we would partner with them to get them access into the property if they didn't have the full $30,000.
Right. Partner it up.
And you and I talked about this. The best way to create wealth, joint venture partnerships, collaborative, cooperative economics.
Yeah.
So we'll put those. So if it's investing across the whole, if dollar for dollar, if I'm looking at pure investing, I'm going to go where I get the best rate of return on my money. $1 out of my pocket, one back in my pocket. And then I'm going to take my risk. I'm going to get my management system together. Okay. I'm going to get my consultant to find the property, and I'm going to get my person to actually oversee everything for me. And I just want to treat it like a mutual fund. See, a lot of people are indoctrinated that they look at the risk versus the risk of paper assets. Because any asset you got on paper that's a stock, a bond, a mutual fund, a dividend, that can go to zero just like that. And you ain't never seen the owner of that company, and you never put your hand on the property.
Listen, I be telling people, come to my office, come see me, baby. Meet me in person. Quicker and faster. Get it done.
And that's the way to do it. The other way I would do investing is start a business. Let me say this to everybody that's listening to this. My number one priority and Ericka's number one priority is owning a business first and foremost. Take that business revenue and make it buy properties and other businesses, and then write off all the legitimate expenses that you can tax write off, and then spend what's left. Because wealth is created by business ownership. And people would tell you, oh, there's more millionaires made through real estate. But see, what they don't tell you is that those millionaires truly had businesses that bought that real estate first.
Yep.
That's quiet as it's kept.
Or that most of them own real estate, or like Oprah, Bill Gates, all of them own property all over the United States.
Right.
Most of them are 80% of all multimillionaires is through real estate, but everybody says that they don't know.
Man.
What?
Talk about blood on the street, Ericka. Blackstone right now buying up all the mobile homes.
Listen, our friends just closed on a mobile home park. I want to reach out to them and be like, come on back on the show because y'all just made it. You just made it under.
Here's what people don't get. They looking at the stuff that's the sexy stuff. It's the non-sexy stuff that's real sexy. Mobile parks. Investment properties I can get into for $20,000, $30,000 and get slow drip residual income. And 5 years goes by just like that. You couldn't have told me in 2015 I would have had $4,200 plus passive income because I wasn't even interested in being in the real estate game anymore. But I won't turn it back in. But that same person will go buy that $250,000, $350,000 house, or better yet, they'll go buy that Hellcat. $111,000 at a 28% rate. And they'll look good. They'll be sharp. And I ain't hating on them, but I know they ain't free. That's what it all boils down to the end of the day. So that's the things that we do. Can I share? Just a 160-second testimonial video on your platform with some young people look just like us?
Sure, for sure.
Let me pull this up. See if I can get it to work. Yep. All right.
Click share.
All right.
Click share your screen.
How do I share? Where do I go to share?
It's at the bottom base. It should say share screen.
Okay, cool. Yep. So they say proof is in the pudding. All right. All right, cool. Let me show everybody. Can you see me now?
Yep, we can. We can see it.
All right, cool. So here's one of the people from your organization.
Turn it up real loud on your side.
All right, let me see here.
mindset that I need, whatever different information that I should pick up as a business. So I definitely want to thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunities you've given. And anyone who's thinking of getting any assistance from PJ, I would recommend it. He's got a multitude of experience that we got right now. At the age of 30, working IT, this was perfect course. I think it's a perfect course for anyone who's the best in the future. Very instrumental in what I'm doing right now. I'm growing with you. And you guys, thank America for bringing me on. Thank you, DJ, for all the advice. Thank you guys.
It was real quiet, but well, if anybody goes on his channel, you ought to be able to see it. But 30-year-old raves about DJ Money doing it. Let me remove, I'll remove that. So,
What's in that link? Those are real people that we didn't know from a hole in the wall, Ericka, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. And those people, like I said, young as 21, as old as 62, have been asking for our help. And I'm just amazed that more of these programs are not available to our people who are very astute. And the education level on the people on your platform is amazing. I mean, I want to give a shout out to Cher Dawson, who's amazing, that came through the program. That's a phenomenal single parent who's got a great son who's 14 years of age, is starting to learn about stock investing. Real sharp guy. And Cher, she's a nurse by profession. Man, incredible down to earth person. She came through the program, and want to give a shout out to her as well. So these are some of the few people. I want to give a shout out to Felicia Akins. Oh man, she's amazing. She's 31 years of age, and we're going to help her get her what's called Minority Women Business Enterprise Certificate here in the next 60 days. And corporation set up, and she's an accountant by profession in a niche-oriented business. Man, look out for her, because man, we're looking to have her become part of our team. She's so skilled at what she does at a young age, and she's so energetic out on the East Coast, knocking it out the park. I'm telling you, it's some amazing people that have come through that we built relations. You know what the best thing about this? We've created a lot of friendships and community. And that is priceless. And that's what we really love about this experience, is that these new incredible people that we met and there to help. And there's been people like Leah who just came through the course, and we worked with her for a short period of time, and she went on, had success by herself. That's amazing. And that's why I want to let people know, we're a type of organization, we just hope that you get help. And if we're not the ones to help you out, we'll refer you to somebody that's a fit for you as well.
Listen, I got one last question. I think this is a perfect one for us to end the show on. Once you reach $1 million, can you still live off the interest of $1 million?
Is that a rhetorical question?
Listen, people love it. That's an old, I remember in 1980s, 1990s, I see old videos talking about once you get $1 million, you can just live off the interest forever.
Is it Pop Chuno or is it Papi Chuno? Papi Chuno. Tell you what you can do. And this is the only time that I give this kind of advice without seeing somebody. If you legitimately have $1 million set aside, you can actually put that in an index universal life annuity or some other type of annuity with a 7% return, which is $70,000 a year, and never touch the principal. If you can consumer debt free and you own everything with your name, and you will live a lifestyle like a millionaire for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Those are facts. And I know several people who do that. And here's the other caveat. Do you know, Ericka, that annuities are not penetratable by lawsuits, i.e. OJ? People wonder how OJ still had money, because most of his money was in annuities, and they're not penetratable by lawsuits. Here's another tip before we get out of here. There's certain states that you can have tax-free pension payouts. And a lot of people just don't know this stuff that's basic to you and I, because we're in the industry on a regular time. But sometimes they let their image and their degrees get in front of them, that they'll not humble themselves to talk to somebody that's just simple and plain like us. And if they did, they'd be a lot further down the road. And that's one thing that I'll encourage everybody to do. Never take advice from somebody who's not down the road to where you want to go. And in 3 areas: your spiritual life, your business life, and your leadership life.
Mm-hmm.
And I never took financial advice from my mother. Never took relationship advice from people who were broke spiritually. And
Yep.
I end up having success. At the end of the day, my number one mentor is only 4 years older than me. At 35 years of age, he was a multi-millionaire. And here's the funny part, and this will crack you up, because I had an image problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rolling around with him, Ericka, back in 89 to 92, going in the hood, and he's packing a gun, collecting rents. And I'm in college at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, this is beneath me. I can do that. And I'm riding in the car with him while he's going in the hood collecting rents. And he turned to me and he said, look, at 35, I'm going to be a millionaire and I ain't going to work anymore. And he was a director and vice president at Northern Trust. And at 35, he walked out exactly on his birthday, was worth over $10 million, and had accumulated over 40 properties. And my dumb self was riding in the car with him most of the time. And here's the reason why I was the dummy riding with him, because he was my sister's fiance.
Could have learned a bunch.
So I told him literally, oh, that's beneath me. I ain't gonna be rolling around here picking up renting stuff in the hood, but I'm riding in the car with him while he going to pick it up. And he was like, yeah, you did, but you didn't get the checks and the freedom. So he said, which one of us is stupid? I was the stupid one. So in 2015 and in 2006, he told me to go get in the real estate business.
Mm-hmm.
I got in the real estate business because he's a multi-millionaire 10 times over and owns properties across the country on some of these shows like the Atlanta Housewives.
Yep.
He owns one of the biggest houses in that community, paid cash for it.
I'm telling you, listen, the crazy part is people don't see everything. Everybody sees the glamorous parts, the vacations, the planes, the all that stuff. And it really starts off of simple choices and decisions along the way. I have people right now in some of our investments who are getting like, $100 or $200 check. And they're like, that's all. I'm like, you're going to get this for the next 10 years on this house. Every time you turn around, you're going to get this for the next 10 years.
Oh,
yeah.
ain't that something to be fired up about? Is that you're going to get that, it's going to accumulate and build up. Like, have you ever seen, an ant walk around outside and then next day is a huge ant hill that where that came from? That's the way residual income works. Mm-hmm. And they're constantly working. And this person that was my sister's fiance, he used to do all his work himself.
Wow.
With teeth, swinging the hammer, cutting the stuff, getting the gas and everything. And I was like, dude, that's beneath me.
You ain't got to do all that. Listen, that goes into my whole conversation. You just work smarter, not harder. I'm like, right. Sometimes your hands are going to get dirty and nobody wants to hear that.
That was back then, but you're right. Nowadays, it's so much with the advent of the internet, quality vetting of professionals, which is what we do better than most people, is that once you're able to do that, let your money work smart and you don't work hard, and then you enjoy, what I like to share with people. Hey, a pom-pom lifestyle. Yeah. There's plenty of money, peace of mind. And we'd love for you to come join us on the beaches of the, World Club, because yes, a lot of this is from, using the oils and using that steam spray.
Yep.
80% of this is from no stress. Because check that out. Got hardly no gray hairs and a full head of hair. And I got 4 amazing children that I'm excited about. And I want to thank you, Ericka, that you're going to interview my oldest son coming up here. And hey, get out there, do it. Find yourself a team. This is what it's about. Reason why I wear these championship rings, because, success is a team sport. Yep. And no man and no woman is an island. So find your team and put that play and that plan and execute it with accountability and discipline and mentorship. And the sky's the limit. Thank you so much for having me back on the program, Ericka. It's a blessing. And man, I'm excited about the business relationship that we've developed and the impact we're gonna have on a lot of families in our community and everybody across the country.
For sure. Man, thank you for coming on. Listen, you guys, in the description, I have links to his course. Inside the chat, we've had links to his course. Several of you have already logged off and went on and purchased. Make sure you register with him to speak with him on the phone. Listen, I enjoy every person that comes on this channel. Thank you for spending your time with me, because our time is valuable and I want it to be utilized well. So let them know everywhere they can find you on the internet before you bounce out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you can find us on YouTube at the number 7 Spheres of Money. The number 7 SPHERES of Money. That's our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to that. You can find us on DJTheMoneyCoach.com. That's our website, DJTheMoneyCoach.com. Those are the best ones. If you want to call us, we have a toll-free business number, toll-free 866-395-3042. Again, that's 866-395-3042. And you can email us at Nick, Nick, at DJTheMoneyCoach.com. That's our business manager. And guess what? Nick, just 1 year ago, last year, did not know me from a hole in the wall and has become debt-free, increased his credit score by over 100 points. And actually, we hired him back in May. So that's the way you can get in touch with us. And the links Ericka has, get the course. It'll be a limited opportunity to work with us and the complimentary consultation. And hey, let's go have some fun. And let's take advantage of this last quarter. And let's triple the things that you do right. And let's eliminate all the stuff that you do wrong with the proper coaching and the proper spirit and the proper mindset. Appreciate you, Ericka. And again, enjoy a pom-pom lifestyle and look forward to seeing you on the beaches of the world too.
All right. Later, you guys. Have a good night.